Housing Development Program.
Welcome to Housing Development, your weekly insight into shelter, safety and sustainability across the nation's housing sector. As always, I am your Housing Diva, Flora Anne, and as always, it's a pleasure to have you join me as I bring you the top stories shaping housing and construction in Nigeria and beyond. Today on the program, we are focusing on protecting tenants, especially from agent racketeering and exploitation in Lagos housing market. Plus, we'll visit the Kajola Plank Market and Abule Ado Building Materials Market in Lagos for a look at the current trends in the cost of construction materials. And of course, the Africa Housing Awards are back. Nominations are ongoing. Let's begin with the trending news in housing and development sector.
The Kano State government has approved the construction of weighbridge facilities valued at 586.5 million naira to enhance trade regulation, logistics efficiency and revenue generation. The decision was taken at the 33rd State Executive Council meeting chaired by Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf. The facilities will be built in Doguwa local government area at 5 major entry points into the state. Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs Ibrahim Abdullahi Waya says the project aims to curb vehicle overloading, protect road infrastructure and ensure proper taxation on goods moving within and outside the state. The initiative, supervised by the Ministry of Mineral Resources, is part of the administration's 19 billion naira investment plan across key sectors. The council also approved several policy initiatives, including the construction of 50 low-cost housing units, acquisition of majority shares in KEDCO to strengthen power supply, and the adoption of the Kano State electricity policy to support renewable energy development. Kaduna State Governor Senator Uba Sani says his administration is committed to closing the state's housing deficit through partnership and social housing projects for the poor and vulnerable. Speaking at the Rigachikum Igabi local government area during the commissioning of 100 free houses for widows built by Family Homes Funds Limited, Sani said the initiative aligns with President Bola Tinubu's World Development Plan to empower citizens nationwide. He highlighted ongoing housing projects, including the Qatar Sani Bill project, Nuru Suraj Ungwa Dosa layout, and Urban Shelters Millennium City Scheme, while noting the participation of several federal agencies in mass housing in the state. Sani reaffirmed his commitment to providing affordable, inclusive and sustainable housing, making Kaduna a model for development in Nigeria. Land values have reportedly doubled due to renewed infrastructure projects, particularly in Enugu and Abia states, that are improving urban-rural connectivity and stimulating demand in previously remote areas. In Enugu, where Governor Peter Mba has launched the rehabilitation of 141 urban roads worth 183 billion naira, widespread urban renewal has fueled land price hikes. According to estate agent Kennedy Chukwuemeka, plots in Enugu's Nike Lake Resort area that sold for 8 to 11 million naira 2 years ago now cost between 20 and 25 million naira. Analysts say diaspora Nigerians are driving much of the activity, sending funds home to acquire land amid rising optimism about the region's economic prospects. To read the full details of the news, visit www.africahousingnews.com.
Those are some of the stories shaping Nigerians' housing narratives this week. After the break, we turn our focus to tenant protection as Lagos residents continue to decry agent racketeering and rising housing costs.
In every generation, a few rise above the rest. The visionaries, the builders, The men and women who turn dreams of shelter into the reality of home. There are the champions of affordable housing, those who dared to make home ownership possible for ordinary people. Who are these legends who devoted their craft, their projects, their investments to ensure that every family has a place to call home? It's time to honor them, to celebrate their legacy in the Affordable Housing Hall of Fame 2025. Who deserve to be inducted this year? Which individual, developer, governor, mortgage bank, or institution has left a lasting footprint of impact? Join us as we celebrate excellence, commitment, and innovation. The icons whose work continues to build Africa, one home at a time. Visit www.africahousingawards.com or send your nominations to africahousingawards@gmail.com. Africa Housing Awards, Affordable Housing Hall of Fame, honoring the heroes behind the homes, celebrating those who build for humanity.
Welcome back. This is Housing Development. If you live or rent in Lagos, you probably know how challenging it can be to secure decent accommodation and sometimes how costly agent racketeering makes the process. To discuss how we can protect tenants and restore fairness to the housing market, Honorable Shola Odeyemi has this to say.
Agent racketeering in Lagos housing sector poses a substantial challenge to establishing a fair and effective real estate market. To tackle this issue, a collaborative approach involving regulatory bodies, consumers, and industry professionals is essential for fostering a safer environment for housing transactions. In an insightful discussion with Honorable Shola Odeyemi, a seasoned agent with over 20 years of experience, we gained valuable insights into the present difficulties within the Lagos housing sector.
What I advise most tenants is to deal with registered agents. We have a body called ECAN. ECAN means Estate Rent Commission Agents Association of Nigeria. So let them, in order to prevent them from falling victim of scam or 419 people, let them deal with registered agents with this body. And I think I've made a mention of this earlier. When you are going searching for a house, make sure that the agent you go to first and foremostly is a registered member of this body. And again, it is not a crime if you see they introduce you to a property that you so much love. You can come back and ask the landlord of the building who he has given that property to, the agent that is in charge of letting his property. That's another way. Well, with my over 20 years experience, what I do in my own practice, I avoid the law court. I try to do an amicable sort of settlement. If you're having an issue, whatever issue you are having with your landlord, if it has to do with a quit notice, instead of going to court, I will advise you meet your landlord, or I will meet you one-on-one and advise you what exactly time do you think is appropriate for you to move out of the house. And if it has to do with rent too, it is something that can be discussed with the landlord too. If you feel the rent is too high, we can meet the landlord and have an amicable settlement to reduce the rent so that you will continuously pay your rent without an hitch. Presently, there is a body that the Lagos State government has brought to protect people looking for houses or tenants. And I think that the name of that body is Lagos State Estate Regulatory Authority, LAGSRA. It is to regulate the numbers of practicing agents, so that at least if you are dealing with them and you are being duped, you can make a report to this body. I think the body is very much on now. What I'm going to really advise tenants in avoiding being at risk is just all what I said earlier. To avoid being at risk, make sure whatever house you are going to, you get it through a registered agent. Then secondly, meet the landlord properly. And the law even protects the tenants even more than the landlord. So in case you fall victim of this, you can make a report to this Lagos regulatory body that has started now. That body registers all agents. You have to register with them. They know your office. They know where you are practicing. So that in case of this, you make report to them, they immediately take charge of that case.
He emphasizes the risk tenants encounter and offers guidance on the necessary precautions to take for a safer housing experience.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa.
That was Honorable Shola Odeyemi sharing vital insights on protecting tenants and restoring trust in Lagos rental market. Following that conversation, we hit the streets of Lagos and Abuja to hear from everyday Nigerians, tenants, landlords and agents about their experiences and reactions to the issue of racketeering in the housing sector.
A particular agent who was in charge of a house, he has increased the rent 2 times without the knowledge of the landlord. So one day the landlord came to the compound and said, this is my tenants. You people are enjoying, oh, please. He gathered them and said, okay, now I want to increase your rent from 150,000 naira to 200,000. Meanwhile, the agent had increased to 400,000 without the knowledge of the landlord. So this is one of the experiences that we have seen from these agents.
On the issue of house agents, number one, they will collect a certain % of amount before showing you a house. If the house is okay for you or it's not okay for you, that has gone. The first one is like a registration fee. On your own, looking for a house is another tax on its own. So you will be resort to an agent. Now, they will give you a house, quite sure, but the percentage that is being demanded of them sometimes is being outrageous. Sometimes they will tell you 10%. After collecting from you, they will now demand from the house owner.
Almost like last year, I was looking for a house. Stressful because most of the challenge that we have in getting a house in Abuja now is house agents. The kind of money they charge on houses is so ridiculous in the sense that pay for whatever to go and see the place, even if you like it or not, you have to still pay money on top. And even if you like it or not, you have to still pay money on top. And after you are... I like the idea.
The owner of the house should be...
By appreciating the organizers of the Africa Housing Awards, and particularly my very good friend, First Awards, and particularly my very good friend, Festus Adebayo for putting up together this remarkable initiative, recognizing the efforts of players in the sector and also encouraging
Housing TV Africa recently visited the Kajola Plank Market and the Abule Ado Building Market.
This one is higher than this one. That is why the difference is the price.
Okay. Okay. Light on is style now. We have this one. But you said last price 4,000 naira for the ceiling board.
People have been coming to patronize.
Stable supply chains will ease the cost of construction materials in the coming months. And finally, the big announcement.
Nominate the Trailblazers, most innovative real estate company. Nominate the Trailblazers, most innovative real estate company. Affordable Housing Promoter of the Year, Housing Finance Institution of the Year, Female Housing Icon of the Year, Property Media Brand of the Year, CEO of the Year, Housing and Construction Sector, Young Developer of the Year, and many more. And yes, which governor deserves the title of Housing Friendly Governor of the Year for policies and projects that made home ownership possible for more citizens? Your voice matters. Your nomination counts. Visit www.africahousingawards.com or send your nominations to africahousingawards@gmail.com. Africa Housing Awards 2025, celebrating excellence, innovation.